Are you tired of watching shows that only give you general social media theory and expect you to figure out how to apply it to your own industry? Join us for this week's episode of Social Chatter, the industry's longest running social media marketing news talk show. Not only will you learn the latest breaking news, but you'll also gain practical advice on how to apply it. Now here's your host, Christian Karasevich.
Welcome everyone to Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing news talk show. This is episode 300 and, let me just double check this, 315. I keep losing track, by the way. 315. We have a great show for you this week. This week, by the way, it's just going to be Sara and myself. Sorry for the late start, by the way. We are running into some technical difficulties, and I think that has to do with the weather. I know, like, the wind was blowing the other day, my internet went down, so the thing you have to remember in business is that things happen. So, for example, for the last 20, 30 minutes, we've been trying to troubleshoot Sara's video and audio issues. So we want to thank you all for sticking around while we got that sorted. She'll be back on here shortly. I do want to hear from you, though. So do me a favor. Tell me where you're watching from in the comments. And the other thing I also want to know, how does our audio sound? How does the video sound as well? Let me know what that's looking like for you. This way, we can get an idea, just make sure that obviously things, are sounding good for you. So, with that, I'm going to go and bring on Sara. We're gonna hope that her audio and everything else is good. Can't guarantee it, but we're going to see how it goes. And we're going to do this. And so she's got her fingers crossed. And while she's doing that, by the way, I'm actually also going to get everything queued up for today. Because, again, we're really scrambling. So let's go and bring on Sara Munro, my co-host for Social Chatter. Sara, how you doing? Hopefully, how we doing?
I'm hoping it's working.
Audio. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Perfect. So you got audio, you got video. Realized, again, this, by the way, I want to tell people this. I mean, when you're trying to, troubleshoot audio issues, things like that, the easiest thing you need to do is just, first off, unplug everything. So unplug everything in your computer. Doesn't matter if it worked yesterday or it's an hour ago. Unplug everything in your computer. Plug it all back in. If it doesn't work, restart the computer. And then if you end up, for example, I think, Sara, you've switched your webcam, right?
I switched my webcam. I switched my headset. I'm on headset number 3 right now.
So the key thing is have a spare.
Yeah.
So Melanie's saying something about audio. Melanie, I'm not sure what's going on with audio. Yeah, not sure on that one, actually. So.
I'm hearing it too. It's pretty.
What's happening?
It's pretty garbled.
Very interesting. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let Sara run the show. And I'm going to pop back out and pop back in. I'm not sure what's going on, actually. So, does that work for you, Sara?
That works fine. Works fine.
We're going to talk, I was telling people, I didn't tell them what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Canva video editing today.
Right.
I'm going to let you kind of take things away. I'll be right back. I'll pop out of the studio, pop back in, and maybe I'll have to do a restart. We'll see.
We'll see. Last week, Christian and I were part of a video marketing summit with Social Media Pro, and we were talking about troubleshooting and preparing for the worst that can happen when you're live streaming. And this is pretty much the worst, right? When everybody's audio is shutting down, when everybody's camera isn't working. So that's part of this being forgiving of yourself, right? And we see it on live television. We see it in live radio, right? Something goes wrong. And so I actually have backups to my backup, which fortunately I could reach and get plugged in time for the show. But it really just has to roll. You just have to roll with it when this happens and try your best with the technology and hope that your audience understands. We're now at episode 315. And hopefully all of you understand that sometimes there are technical glitches, but we're going to try to make this work. And if not, Christian and I can always record another session and post it a little bit later, but hopefully we've got Christian back.
How is that? Is that any
That's
better?
perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
good. So here's the thing. It's exactly what I just said a second ago, which was either unplug something or just restart it. So I restarted my Rodecaster Pro and things just hopefully magically worked. So I'm not sure. Maybe it was people need an extra cup of coffee this morning. Not sure. But
I think maybe it's just our computers are saying it's Thursday. You've had a really long week. You need a long weekend. This is the universe telling us that we need to take a day off.
Quite possible. So here's what we're going to do today, by the way. So we've got a lot of topics we want to cover. Oh, by the way, so Bob says, "Hey, can I turn up Christian's volume?"
Christian's volume. Yep.
Okay. Let me increase that. I'm going to bump that
and
up.
I'm glad that Bob's here too. Yeah, that's a little bit better. I'm glad that Bob's here because Bob does a lot of video production and live streaming as well. And so hear his take on the live demo that we're going to do. Last week, we did a live demo of Instagram desktop publishing, and it went well. And Christian and I knew that this week's show was going to be the two of us, and we've wanted to try the Canva video editing. So we're going to do a live demo of that. Neither one of us have used it very much. Both of us have used other video editing software. And we're going to see how that goes with Canva today.
Very cool. So, okay. So let's get into the news. Let's talk about what all has gone on in the past week. I know, and Sarah, I think like every week it's like, oh, we try to have, 5 to 6 topics. I think this week we had 15, maybe.
We have a lot.
A ton of topics.
We have a lot. So, I think a lot's going to go in the blog.
So I'm going to turn. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to turn it over to Sarah. We're going to kick things off. Sorry for the late, the tardiness here and the audio issues and whatnot. So Sarah, where do you want to start?
Let's start with Canva. We're starting with Canva. I know Canva isn't technically a social media platform, but it's becoming a very interactive sharing tool and collaboration tool. And I think that's where we're going to see a lot of social media going. We've already seen it with Facebook Workplace. We've seen it with other tools like Microsoft Teams. We're going to talk about Twitter acquiring Sphere today. And Sphere is one of those collaborative group community pieces. So Canva is now getting in the video game. And I have to say, this is a great move, especially for businesses that are using Canva a lot. Recently, I've been working with a company that uses one of the competitors to Canva. It's called, I can't remember, sorry, Figma.
Yeah.
And a lot of their design assets, we're now moving the project out of sort of the development phase into the publishing phase where more people are going to be involved. And so I asked for design files and they're like, oh, it's in Figma. So can you use that? Like, well, no, most of our designers work in other programs. But what's nice about Canva is that they're constantly evolving to keep up with what people need, right? So video is the next thing that people need. And Christian, I was just talking while you were restarting, talking about how we were part of a video marketing summit last week and how video is very much a challenge for people. Video software has been incredibly difficult to learn, especially if you jump right into Premiere Pro and do some of the things that you can't really do editing simple things on your phone or iMovie. And in fact, files that iMovie make don't necessarily work with things like LinkedIn and YouTube, which is something that I discovered the hard way to do this week when I had an iMovie piece and I was trying to upload it into YouTube and it just was not having it this week. So anyway, we're going to demo Canva video. And what they're talking about with the rollout is that they are trying to make it like Canva. So everybody who is familiar with Canva is comfortable with it. They're going to start with making it in a way, how can I explain this? They're taking your video and they're making it seem like the designs that you've already worked with in Canva, like presentations. So they're auto chaptering video. They're giving you a chance to add multiple audio levels. Basically, what the team at Canva said is that we are providing all of the tools, but we're not sort of throwing it out there at everybody so that you're not overwhelmed by seeing all the buttons.
Okay.
So
I want to go back to your one point you made at the beginning, and you said Canva is not really a social media platform, and you're absolutely right. It's not, but I got to say, the more I poke around inside of Canva, I think they want to be. I think they totally want to be, actually, because like I was even looking through the video features that are here, and there's a live feature, for example, for presentations. There's the ability to share a link directly to your video, for example, that you're making inside of Canva. So like it actually, if you think about it, they're trying to also, it seems like, pull people away from YouTube, for example, and potentially other platforms as well. You know, from a video front, YouTube, from a design front, they're also doing more integrations as well. So that way they're trying to become that. They're trying not to be they're trying to be the hub, actually. So,
right.
And by the way, this is really cool. So Melanie says she's an early beta tester for the Canva video editor. By the way, Melanie, if you do want to pop in and join us and talk Canva video, let me know. You're more than welcome to come on. Not putting you on the spot, but if you want to, fantastic. By the way, Bob, how is my audio? Is it any better? I did bump it up to, I would say 11, but I'm only at about 7. So, okay. So let's talk. So basically Canva is launching their own video editor inside the Canva platform. I'm going to just go and pull this up. So this is and you know what? I'm going to use the new picture-in-picture feature that we've got here, actually. So this is the Canva video editor. And it's going to look, well, this is the Canva just dashboard, I guess. So you have a couple ways to create video. I know you can go up here to what you want to design, or you can go to create a design and select video from here as well. So Sarah, how do you want to demo this, by the way? What do you think?
I'd say let's, why don't you go ahead and start a video? I think what we can do is let's take maybe the recording from last week and we'll snip it into a short that we can use. We did the demo of Instagram last week. We could do a quick little video of that. Okay. What I really, as you're getting that going, what I like about Canva, just in general, what I like about Canva is that it's so quick to set up a template, and they're bringing that template option into video. So if you are like any of us who have had a Zoom recording or have anything that's in landscape and you need to make it into a short or a reel now, I'm guessing that we're going to be able to drag and drop, sort of focus that landscape video into a vertical video and just maybe focus on that one speaker of a snippet that we want, or one screen share.
How about this? Let's let the audience vote. What type of video should we try and create here? So I'm looking at the Canva editor, and as you can see, I mean, there's TikTok videos, there's Instagram, there's I think there was Instagram. I assume there's Instagram. There's LinkedIn, there's Pinterest video, there's Facebook at the beginning, obviously. You can do a slideshow video. You can do ad videos. You can do a video collage, a mobile video, a video message, Facebook video, and then obviously just a blank template. What do you all think we should create? And Sarah, if we don't get a response from anyone, you pick.
I'm going to say go to the right a little bit more. Sure. I'm going to say a mobile video. Okay, because my guess is that mobile video means, what do we all think? It means TikTok, right? It means reel. At least that's what it looks like.
Yeah. That is interesting, by the way. So, okay, so Bob says mobile as well. So we've got 1080 by, so here's a little tip, by the way, for you. If you ever need the sizes for like social media platforms, go into Canva. And for example, if we're like, hey, what size should a TikTok video be? For example, we go all the way over here, we're going to see, oh, there's a TikTok video, 1080 by 1920, as you can see here on the bottom of the screen here. So you're going to have TikTok videos. Same for LinkedIn. If you're like, hey, you know what, LinkedIn, I want to make a video ad, 1920 by 1920. So you can get the sizes that you need without having to like go try and read an outdated blog post. It often doesn't have the right information anyway. So mobile video, 1080 by 1920. Okay, perfect. Very cool. Okay, so one thing I am going to have to do, I'm going to have to do a lot of screen switching here because it does look like it opens in another window. So not a big deal. Here we go. Okay, so this is this is the mobile video option. Okay, so Sarah, let me know how you want to work this.
Yeah, let's take last week's video where we demoed Instagram desktop publishing.
Okay.
And it looks like it's going to be the same as any other video editor. Although what's interesting is, usually you just drag it into the timeline, but it looks like first you're going to have to go to uploads to bring in your media.
Do you happen to have that video by chance?
I don't, but do you have the video from last
I don't actually.
week?
Let's do this. Let's build off a template first.
Sure.
Okay. So, what do you want to start with? Let's pick something.
Let's just pick that orange one.
This one in the middle?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So we can just drag that in, or if we want to actually see what this looks like, we can also just click the play button here as well on the video. Fantastic. Right. Okay.
And then the background colors, typical Canva, you can just change your background colors or go to your branded kit.
Okay.
It's interesting that the Social Chef's branded kit isn't showing up in that.
But I'm in a different account actually. So
gotcha.
So here's let's just change some colors. Okay, so great. We'll go with what colors you want to go with?
We'll go with green.
Okay.
Go with the Social Chef's green.
Got it. Perfect.
And we can just show how that changes the background color from the peach and yellow to the green.
There we go.
There we go.
Perfect.
So
pretty neat. Pretty neat. Let's change that one as well. Let's make that more yellow. Let's see. There we go. We'll go with more like a lemon lime, I guess. We're going to go with that.
Lemon lime. I'm going to drop a video to you as well. I'm trying to get the video for you.
Awesome. So what other modifications you want to make here?
I think titles, one thing that does frustrate me about Canva is the titles. I can't just automatically put a fill color behind a box. I think we both have that challenge in trying to just, add a few more design elements that seem pretty standard in any kind of even word processing software, right? That you can even in Word, you can make a text box a different color and then change the font color. So that's one thing that I noticed this week, and maybe it was just me not understanding Canva, but you can finally have two different colors in the same line of text, which I was quite rejoicing in when I discovered that. And here we go. This is live, people, because we realized we didn't have the videos together. Drop down.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, again, we're gonna do a quick demo of this.
Yeah, a quick demo.
So, what else do you want to change in here?
I would change out the image that you've got there,
Okay.
and I'm just gonna
do that. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna replace that image. Let's just see what images we have in here.
And I'm just pulling a video in so that you can show how it stitches together.
Sure, let's just grab a random image. Let's just grab this one.
I thought I had a random video here. Don't want to give you a client video. That would be bad.
Okay, so we're going to drop that in. Okay, great. We got some motion going on here.
And there is supposed to be animation.
Okay. Yep.
So we have seen some animation. Animate your text.
I mean, I think the key takeaway here is it's supposed to be obviously as easy as using most of the other Canva products.
Right. But you do have to look for some of the finer details. Like I said, as we started, they aren't putting everything right out in front of you. If you look at other video software programs, you have lines and lines and lines of different buttons to press to do different to bring in different features, like change text or add titles or slow things down, speed things up. right? Move chapters, clips. It's all in front of you. And sometimes that's very overwhelming, especially if you are just getting to learn video editing and production. So, or say if you are, this isn't your day in and day out job and you just need something quick, right?
Yeah.
You can do something quickly, or you just want something fun for personal use too. I think something to note is that this is part of Canva's free package. So you don't have to pay to get video features. You may not get all the video features, but you can get some of them.
Very
And
cool.
again, this is just rolling out. So we're still learning. They did say that they will be adding to it as it goes along. I really like that it's collaborative. One thing that we don't really talk about on this show is that we use Canva for our presentations. So, and we have been for how many months?
Quite a while.
Yeah, quite a while. Yeah. So, and what's great is that, we share in setting up what the show's going to do. So it's super easy for us to just hop into Canva and change something. Like if I want to reorder the slides, I can do that and have the show flow in a different way. Or we can just collaborate. You and I have both said, hey, I think this one should be topic number 3, and you think X should be topic number 3. And sometimes we just move them around in the slides.
Yeah, I got to say, just from a video editing standpoint, so granted, my design doesn't look that great, by the way. I tried to add a little texture, things like that to it, but it does make it super easy. I think the key takeaway here is if you are not a video editor, again, people are trained in this. It's not like social media where you can go, and you you can learn by doing, but there are some very, very, very advanced things that people will do for video editing. And the great thing about Canva is that you don't have to go and use some of these more expensive programs. Like you don't have to learn, for example, when I learned video, I learned like iMovie. Actually, sorry, I went way before that.
Oh, we lost audio.
Sarah?
Yep. Hi.
I don't hear your audio actually. Hang on 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm going to refresh. I'm not hearing any audio. 1 second.
How's that? Okay, let's see. Looks like we lost Christian again. And we can I'll ask if folks can hear us. So Bob did ask a question. Did I miss something? Are you collaborating on the same video at the same time? And yes, Bob, we can actually do that. And hopefully you can hear me. If I can get a comment here, if anybody can hear me.
Okay, so I'm back. I'm sorry about the format.
That's okay.
I don't even think I moved, and all of a sudden my my machine decided to cut out the audio.
Yeah. That's fine. So Bob was asking, are we collaborating on the same video at the same time? And actually we could if we wanted to. We haven't done the video at the same time. We typically do that with slides. We're both in there and we can move things around or change things at the same time, which can be fun and can be, I can understand how it could be difficult if it was a team larger than just 2.
So let me go back to my original thought before my audio cut out. And that was the fact that with Canva, you don't need to learn expensive software to begin using video. And thing is, it's going to take you, it's great for super quick videos, things like that. For example, if you're not into using iMovie or the next big step up, Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere to do your video editing, those are physical editors on their software that you run. They're dedicated programs. Canva, for example, it's run through a browser. You've got Wave Video, for example, as well. You've got other options for making these videos pretty quickly. I think the key thing I want to just suggest to people is these are going to help you if you're not into video editing, for example, and you're like, hey, I need to start doing it because that's what my customers or my clients want. Canva is a great place to start for that. You can do a lot of really cool things in here. For example, if I've made this video and let's say like, hey, I want to make it like 5 seconds, for example. Again, as you can see, it's super easy to just make these adjustments on Canva. Remember, Canva also has mobile apps. And so I'm going to assume this also works on an iPad or an iPhone. On an iPad, I bet this is fantastic to edit on because you can probably do a lot of these things pretty quickly with your fingers. So for example, if this video, it's 5 seconds, let's say we want to split the video. For example, we can do that. We can now add a transition in between. And then obviously
awesome.
So for example, I mean, this, again, you don't have to use these. You don't want to use, also, by the way, you don't want to do a ton of transitions between different clips. So for example, we could put this one in here, we can hit play, and then we're going to get to the transition and let's see what happens.
I remember the first slideshow. I think I was using Windows Movie Maker. Remember that? I think it was probably 8 or 9 years ago. I was making a slideshow for some event that I was putting together and had 100 photos and didn't want people to sit there for an hour, right? And so it would let you compress it. And what it would do is just automatically shift everything to work the same. Each slide would be on screen for the same amount of time. So, and I think I probably used like 5 different kinds of dissolves and transitions just because they were there.
Yeah.
And like you said, you don't want to use too many, but you also don't want these rough jump cuts too. Now, I think a lot of us who watch YouTube, we're accustomed to the jump cuts, but there's a lot of business video that isn't accustomed to the jump cuts. And you may want to, either as you're producing it, make sure that people not move around a lot. I move a lot in my chair, so I have very drastic jump cuts. But if you're doing something that's much more serious, needs to be more polished, keep yourself in the frame for the whole time. And that way, if you need to cut out a word or two, or there's something in the background or something like that, you can easily cut it out and you're not moving around too much.
Very cool. Yeah. And I want to highlight just a couple other features in here. So one of those is if you're making a video, you've got some notes you want to add, you can add your notes here as well. Again, this is going to be if you're presenting this, so you're going to be able to, you're going to get the notes in there. Again, you can also turn the notes feature on and off. As I mentioned, you can also just easily drag to reorder clips. You can also, again, adjust your transitions here. You can add additional pages as well. So you can create a seamless video here. A couple other things as well. So like you see, you have basically 2 parts of this editor. You've got the actual, like this is the production. And then down here, you've got all your clips and whatnot. So, if you want to zoom those in, for example, to get an idea of, well, hey, how long is this video? You can zoom that in this way. Again, it gives you a little more real estate to work with. The other option is if you want to zoom this thumbnail, say you want to get tighter on something and like figure out what, like, oh, well, hey, let's look at this. Like we can actually do that here with this, with the zoom feature as well. So again, also remember your keyboard shortcuts also work well here. So, so a couple other little features actually I do want to show. So, so I want to thank Melanie actually, because she was telling me she had access to Canva, a video editor beta. Again, here's another thing you can also do. You can trim a video. So for example, I can easily drag this out if I want to. I can also then drag this back in to make my adjustments. I wonder if they have roll and slip and whatnot in here. Let's see.
Don't know. I will say they do have audio tracks. So you can add audio tracks. You can do voiceover. So desktop recording, you can record your screen as you're demoing something, and you can add audio on top of that. So you can actually film, like say a coworker or your senior leadership team needs to know how to do something. You can actually just record your screen going through it and put in the narration. And you can divide up audio tracks. You can add music, all that great stuff. Again, they're not showing all of it up front. So, they don't have the different track. If you notice, if other people have used the more complicated video editing, you'll see all the different layers that you can put in right from the get-go. And here, if you wanted to add that, you could as you go along.
Definitely. Yeah. And I got to say, I mean, there's, so I want to just demo, like, let's just say we had a finished video. So For example, here I am inside of Canva, and let's say, I've added a blank video. I can let's just add a thanks for watching screen, for example. This could be great for like a YouTube channel if you want to, again, have those placements where what you basically do is you make the video piece inside of Canva. And then when you're finished, if you want to go over to YouTube, you add this as an end screen on your videos to direct people to different videos that they should go watch, whether that's a playlist or something like that. You literally are making the animation here, and then you're leaving these spaces so that when you are in YouTube, you drop the actual video from YouTube in the YouTube product. So
right.
Again,
so it's interactive that you can choose which video you want to appear. I think we've all seen, well, I shouldn't assume that anybody has seen them, right? Because we may have some folks who are new to this watching, but you can choose your most recent video. You can choose which other video you want people to see, or you can let the algorithm choose what video will be displayed in those little boxes at the end. So what's nice is that you can add your own branding. It's not just whatever is at the tail of your video, that you actually have something that's a little more polished, matches your brand identity, and looks like you've put some little extra effort into it.
Definitely. Yeah. And so I want to just talk about just a couple other things. So you can basically do anything you want to inside of the Canva product. You can add that directly to this particular video clip. So for example, if I've got some elements I want to add, I can just go in here and drop those in. Again, I can just drag and drop these. So,
or your other photos that you've already uploaded.
Yeah. So you got,
when we build our slides out for this, there's a lot of elements that are already in Canva. All of the social media icons that we use, a lot of different GIFs and fun little widgets that we add. Sometimes the cover photos that we have for videos in our promotions. Christian adds little emojis and things like that. That's all within Canva too. You don't have to go searching for it and source it somewhere else and then drag it in as if it was a desktop publishing software.
And as you can see, I mean, you can add pretty much anything you want to this. Obviously, this is probably a little too much, but you can, just make sure you layer things properly when you're making your videos. So for example, as you could see a second ago, if I brought that over here to this box, it's, that doesn't really look right. So what I'm going to want to do is just right click on this and just say, let's see if we can send it to back. So as we send it to the back, it's still there. It's adding some motion. I can still move it around. It's not actually going to hide the videos. It also attracts draw somebody's eye to that particular spot as well on the end of the video. So that way they kind of know, okay, well, that's where you want me to look. So, so this is the Canva video editor feature. A couple other things I want to mention real quick on this. So when you're finished with this, you can do a lot of different things with this. So for example, there's a share option. So for example, we can go in here and decide, if we want to share this, for example, if I want to share it with Sarah, I could go in there and share it with her. We could also go in here and play and get a preview of what this is going to look like. There's also a download option in the top right corner here as well. So if you're on Canva and you're like, hey, I want to download this, you just click the download button. That's going to make it easy for you to save it. In addition to that, there's also some really handy share link to watch options. So for example, this is what the video looks like. And then I could, let's just say I happen to want to share this with my team. Say we're in like a Slack channel or something like that. I could do that. Did my screen just disappear, Sarah?
It did.
Interesting. Okay. Having a little I'm having quite a few challenges today, actually.
I know.
So you can do a share link to watch option. And then you also can even go even further. And if you go under the 3-dot menu in the top right, there's obviously share to watch, present, download, share to a Facebook page. So directly from Canva out to your social media platforms. And then there's also a really neat tool. It's present and record. So for example, if you're using like a product like a Loom or something like that, where you want to actually give a presentation and actually like be on screen, you can do the recording directly in Canva as well. This would actually pop up a separate video feed, kind of like what we have right now, where we can talk over top of things. So what questions do you all have about the Canva video editor? I mean, I think it's a pretty fantastic product.
Yeah, I really like how they are integrating the presentations in there too. because I think a lot of teams are using Canva instead of PowerPoint, especially when so many of us are remote and you just need something. The web browser is, when the internet works, as we're discovering today, is a little fluky for us. But people can really collaborate on documents and things. So I'm just checking the chat here. One thing I did want to add, I dropped a link for you to add to the chat, Christian. I got permission to actually share it. I really found, when I first started getting into video editing, I found a local nonprofit that teaches video editing. They're called the Media Factory. They're based in Vermont. And they have, with pandemic, they've opened up their classes to anybody anywhere in the world. So you can go check them out. Their classes are $20 US.
Oh, nice.
Which is a suggested donation. And they have iMovie, they have production, how to use your phone and your iPad to produce video, how to choose microphones, all kinds of great stuff. So definitely check that out. If you're in the US, your community may also have a similar media center where you can get affordable classes. But certainly, I think now that Canva has this video product, we're going to see more and more tutorials from them as well.
Yeah, definitely. I gotta say, I like the fact that this is all like, it's easy. That's the amazing thing. I mean, so you don't have to, like, I think the key factor is, so it's easy. There's a lot of templates to select from, but I will say this, you do have to be careful about, just pick, like, for example, if you just went on to create a video inside of Canva and you just pick the first one that shows up on your screen, chances are, if someone else is getting started with making video in Canva, they're going to pick the same one. And so everyone's going to start to be making the same types of videos. I think the key things are going to be to make sure you brand them. So for example, to add your colors, to add your logo in there, to add some of the other like whiz bang elements, the motion to make it unique. But again, like, you don't want to be so cookie cutter that like it looks like everyone else's. So you can you can do some amazing things with it. Again, it's drag and drop. So, and the other thing is, you can always undo what you do. So for example, if you add something and you're like, you know what, I really, that doesn't work, just hit the undo button. So they do have keyboard shortcuts. There's also a key in there as well to make the adjustments. The other thing also with this is, if you're new to video editing, look at the templates that they give you, because that's going to give you a lot of different ideas of, well, hey, how do they add that? And start to deconstruct it. So think about, like, for example, I mentioned it's a sandwich. So, okay, if something's on the back, that's like the solid background. Okay, I need to, like, if I want to match that, I got to put my first layer down. And then I want to add something else. Well, okay, somebody's using a spinny thing, for example. Maybe I want a triangle or something like that. Like, just add those elements, start to combine them and see what works, what doesn't work. And again, you can customize all the different layers. So it's a pretty neat little product. Okay.
Exactly. And beware that Instagram look. I'm sorry, not the Instagram look, the Canva look, because Instagram is filled with it, right? When Canva first started rolling out some of their Instagram story templates, maybe it's just the people I follow, but so many of them were using that peach background with the little squiggles, and I saw it everywhere. So that's why I think one of the first things to do if you're using a template is change the colors, right? It's people know some of the elements, but if you're using the same colors that everybody else is using, for sure, that's a giveaway that you're using a template. Not that that's a bad thing, but from the get-go, make your own mark with it. So, okay, so let's get back on track with some news. And if Bob is still listening, he asked this question last week, and it is the news of the week for social media, and that is that Facebook is changing its name. So it's going to happen in a couple of hours, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So that's 2 hours from now if we're live. So Facebook has been talking about how they want to be more of a metaverse, that it's not just one element. It's going to be the virtual space around you. And we're going to find out what they mean by all of that in their Connect conference. Again, that's October 28th today, as we're recording this at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And it's going to be interesting to see what they say, how they say it, what's going to happen. There's a lot of speculation. Are they going to be like Google and Alphabet? That Alphabet now is the umbrella for Google, YouTube, and all the other Google properties, or if they're going to do an outright name change. So we'll see. It's not like renaming your company is unheard of. I think we've all seen well-established companies like Comcast changed to Xfinity, and Philip Morris changed to Altria. And now we're seeing a lot of energy companies doing the same thing, especially in the US, because they're not just about the one energy source. So I think this is Facebook saying we're not just about this one platform, we're about a lot more. And we'll see what their name change does to reflect that new direction for the company. So, and let's not forget that Instagram was once a different name too. Very short-lived Bourbon, I think. Bourbon was their name. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it because they dropped vowels out of it. But yeah, we'll see. What do you think, Christian? Any predictions for this one?
I gotta say, it's going to be like Alphabet. So Google came up with Alphabet. I will say this, if I were Facebook, I'm just trying to think. If I were Facebook, I would probably come up with a word that starts with an A that is coming before Alphabet. And if I'm thinking of Facebook, I'm thinking of Google. I'm thinking of Amazon, for example. Same thing. Amazon, A to Z, for example. Google came up with Alphabet. Alphabet, basically, if you kind of think about it, it's encompassing the whole thing. If I'm Facebook and I'm thinking along the lines of Facebook here, they will probably come up with something that starts with, A something before L. So that's my guess. Because then that's going to show up before people. They're going to play off the Apple thing. That was the other reason why Apple named themselves Apple, for example, because they want to show up, at the basically at the front. So
right. Maybe they'll go to the bottom. Maybe they'll go to Z. Who knows?
Maybe
flip the alphabet for everybody. So
who knows?
It will be interesting,
to
see what happens given everything that's going on with Facebook. So there is other Facebook news. So let's just jump into it since we're not, SEC publicly traded company experts in renaming companies. But Facebook is announcing some other new tools. Especially for small to medium-sized businesses. So they're adding video calls and appointment booking. I think the appointment booking is really interesting. Video calls, audio calls. I don't know that I'd necessarily pick up a call, certainly not a video call from a brand, but maybe if it is a company, I'm having an issue. Let's say it might be a plumber or an HVAC system. Some of their customer care people could say, hey, show us what's leaking. Show us what the breaker box looks like or something. And maybe they can troubleshoot through Messenger video. Who knows what the uses are going to be, but it could be interesting. It could also be very misused too. So let's just keep that in mind. But the booking, I think, is interesting, especially since Facebook has been trying to put a lot more tools into their business tools. So things like workspace and all of that. The booking is a next iteration of that. And it syncs with Google Calendar. So for all of you who are Google Calendar fans, you got it with this, which is a great asset. The other thing that they're doing, there's a couple more things, just some fun little, I don't know, I call them tricks or treats for Halloween, right? They're adding some fun AR elements and effects to Messenger and Instagram. And basically it's things like beards and crowns and things like that you can add in to your video calls or your messaging. So basically things that we've seen on other platforms forever. I think the first ones I ever saw were on Google Hangout. That's how far back I go with it. So Facebook is bringing that in. Any comments about this, Christian?
I gotta say, the fact that Facebook's trying to add tools for small businesses. So a lot of those features they're rolling out, they've had them for years. For example, the appointment booking, that's been there for Pages for a long, long, long time. I don't think a lot of people use it because again, the other thing is they're coming out with features that a lot of people are probably already using another system for it. So for example, if it's appointment booking, people are the bare minimum, they're using like Google Calendar. However, for people who've taken that next step, if you're a business, for example, they're using Calendly, for example, Harmonizely, like all those other products to make it where it's a seamless booking product where people can go there now. They can book a time, they can make a payment, for example. It goes through Stripe. It's just like the Facebook aspect. And then all you have to do is take that link and give it to somebody. I think the key differentiator there is that it's integrated inside of Facebook if you're using the Facebook product versus having to give somebody a link. I do like the fact that they're making it easier. I don't know about you, but I personally, I don't book any appointments with anyone on Facebook. Maybe I'm abnormal, but like, I don't do any booking whatsoever through Facebook.
Well, it may just be too, we're US based, right?
Yeah.
And that there are other countries where Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp are used heavily. And so this is a big win for businesses in those countries that rely much more on Facebook for these things. I think for small businesses, I think we've all had the pain points of trying to order online or reach people online. And certainly businesses are very stressed and understaffed. So if this can help automate that, it could be a good thing. My concern is that they may also, as easily as it is to book it, it's easy to not show up or to cancel it. And so that leaves holes in your calendar too. So if it's just you're doing some kind of lead screening, definitely see a use for it. Just like Calendly, Harmonizely, all the other ones where people can just book a 15 or 30-minute call with you and you just set that up. And if people take the slot, they take the slot. If they don't, then you're just answering your emails, right? But if you are a salon or a mechanic or something like that, that's real time and real money that you could have booked someone else for.
I gotta say, I mean, I think that it's nice that they're adding these. I think again, in the perfect scenario, like people would like they'd have the system set up, they'd have that funnel really like defined about how people go and book time with them. I think what it really boils down to though is a lot of people will just do the standard, hey, just text me. Like for example, you mentioned WhatsApp. They won't actually go through the process of actually setting up booking. They will actually just say, hey, you know what? Somebody texts them. They send them, hey, are you available today at 1? And the person says, hey, yes or no. They then probably, chances are the business will write something down. They'll have some sort of, they'll do a manual like booking, or they'll have a computer system at their, at their establishment, for example, that they're already using. So again, I think the hardest part is like, how do the hardest part is I think backing a business out of an existing solution they're using. Because if they're already using something, it's like, for example, if I'm already if I already have a cash register in my business, how do you get me to use Square? Because that's also trying to be a cash register. And chances are there's already contracts and things like that in place with your business. So I would say this, I think the takeaway is don't force your business to try to use a tool that's going to cause you to have to redo everything in your business. See if it makes sense. For example, if you've been like, hey, I need to reduce my processing fees, for example, that we're, paying credit card companies every time somebody has to pay with a credit card, consider switching to, a Stripe or a Square or somebody like that may have a lower fee, for example. It really comes down to the type of business you're running. I do like the fact that they are adding a lot of these features. But again, you don't need to use every single one of them. That's the key takeaway. Like it's like Canva. Canva has a lot of things that can do really well for you. It can also then, if you use it too much, and just if you never really learn how to use one of the features, but you're always chasing all the other ones they're launching inside of the product, again, it just it creates distraction as well. So just keep that in mind.
Right.
Okay.
It's a great entry. I think it's a great entry. I think that's what sort of the take home from a lot of these tools that we're talking about today is that it's a great way as you're getting a business going, as you're getting started, but know that you may need to evolve. You may need to evolve past Canva. You may, or Facebook booking or something like that. You may get to a point where you have an integrated Salesforce installation where you can do all of that through that, and then you give up the easier free ones that you used when you were just getting your business going. So
definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got a couple
moving
more.
on. Yeah, we gotta roll through these. So lightning round.
So we're gonna do a lightning round here with Sarah. We go
Lightning
into that.
round. Yeah.
Okay.
So Instagram news, we talked a little bit about this. They're still putting out little nuggets. I think we'll hear more today during the Connect conference, and that is that they are testing longer stories. Again, they're listening to people who are saying we don't like how the videos get cut up in the stories. So story videos are going to expand to 60 seconds, I think is what we're seeing from Alexandro Paluzzi's Twitter account. Still cracks me up that Alexandro Paluzzi announces all of this on Twitter and not, say his Instagram stories. But, each his own. What works for him? Let's go next to Twitter. This is something that I teased a little bit earlier, and that is that they acquired the chat app Sphere to boost their communities. I dug a little bit into Sphere. I don't know a lot about them, but it sounds like what they've done is that they've created groups and communities where people are sharing information. They actually have paid experts to provide advice and information too. So it's going to be an interesting way for Twitter to increase engagement and give people a little more space to have more chats, hopefully maybe in a more private way than just being out in the Twitterverse. Do you have any any comments about this, Christian? About Sphere?
I like what Twitter's doing. They're finally actually starting to move things along, which is pretty fantastic. I think the fact that again, it's another chat app. So just because they may be launching, a more improved chat functionality. By the way, that second screen in the middle, that does remind me a lot of Clubhouse. But
does it? Let me see.
Here, let me pull that back.
Yeah,
up.
it is a little bit like Clubhouse. Looks like Twitter Spaces, though.
Well, so
could it not be an accident that Twitter Spaces and Sphere look similar?
Very possible, yeah. So I got to say, I think the key thing is, again, if the platform is you want to test it out, but don't go all in and redo your whole business just to make it work. So again, I'm glad they're adding these different products. Remember, just because they acquire somebody doesn't mean that they're ever going to use it. Sometimes they just, they basically just acquire the employees as well. So keep that in mind. And then the other thing is it doesn't always close immediately. So just because they've acquired them, it may take a year. I doubt it will, but it may take a year for them to really start to fully integrate things. It may take longer than that. It really depends on the complexity of things and how much they are merging. So I like, though, the fact that Twitter is really starting to push out a lot of useful updates to make the platform more than just about sending tweets.
Right. Well, you may not use it necessarily to build your own communities in Sphere, but perhaps you could contribute to other communities. Maybe there is a group or community within Sphere where you could add your expertise, and then you could actually acquire new customers that way too.
Definitely.
So moving on, YouTube, and I think, Christian, you're a little more excited about this one than I am, but YouTube is doing more live shopping just in time for the holidays. We've talked about this in some other episodes, and it's kind of like a shopping show where people can demonstrate things. You can shop live. I'm going to let Christian jump in here because he actually does a lot more live shopping, mostly on Amazon though, right?
Yeah, definitely. But here's the thing. I am actually really excited about YouTube offering this functionality. The fact that YouTube's going to start to have, you can already sort of do live shopping now as it is. If you happen to have a YouTube channel, you happen to have a merch store underneath. A lot of people can always direct people to the merch store. But I love the fact that YouTube would be getting into doing this. Now, the only challenge, is this. So with Amazon's already got all the products pretty much on their website. With YouTube, what they probably would end up doing with this is they probably would end up partnering with, a few different companies. So let's just think about like companies who do some distribution. So for example, if I were, again, I don't think Apple would do this, but if I were Apple, for example, let's say I'm Belkin and I'm making accessories, or, for example, my favorite notebook, the Rocketbook, for example, if I'm over there using these products, like I could see, like, if I'm YouTube, maybe they build partnerships, even almost along the lines of like an affiliate side, where they build a partnership with some of these companies. And then that way they can easily bring their products into the YouTube sphere, basically, and then make it easier for people who are doing live video. For example, if you're setting up a live stream, you would have, I would think, the ability to also then maybe, make it part of the workflow.
Right.
Select what products you want to feature during that live stream, for example. And I got to say, I mean, if they do that, that is going to be really like super amazing, because the other thing is, we talk about this all the time, people go to YouTube to watch video. So there's all sorts of, you're not going to YouTube and like, I mean, yeah, you can go to the community tab. You can get a little bit of the social aspect, where you'll have some static graphics, things like that. But for the most part, people go to YouTube, they go to watch videos, whether it's a short video, so a YouTube Shorts feature, whether it's a full-on, episode, whether it's, an interview, for example, whether it's tutorial, they go there to watch things. For example, people go do unboxings instead of people saying, hey, here, the links in the description to my Amazon store or whatever. Why not just have it all right there inside of YouTube? There's no more, hey, the link's in my description. Because the other thing that will also probably happen with this is, remember, YouTube has been adding chapter markers to videos. So, for example, they do this show, it's 1 hour, for example, they can automatically go and pick those things out. In addition to that, you can also manually add your own chapter markers. So basically, there, if there's like little clips every 10 minutes, they basically can go and you can fast forward through the video. Now, the great thing about that is that shows up in YouTube, in Google search results. So for example, if somebody wanted to learn about Canva Video Editor today, they could potentially get directly into that part of this episode without having to watch any other stuff. Now, here's where this gets really cool. Think about it from a live shopping perspective. Somebody is searching for a product. Let's say they're searching for this Rocketbook notebook, for example, and I happen to have a demo video, for example, and somebody's like, they're looking up specs about this. They're like, maybe they want the cost of this. Instead of pulling up a web page, or instead of pulling up Amazon, I think you're going to see YouTube search result or Google search results start to pull up featured products directly available through the YouTube platform, and then they'll reward the creators. That's what I think is going to happen with this.
And will even the AI recognize that you have that notebook and offer up, even if it's not chaptered, would they offer it up eventually? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of YouTube creators. I'm seeing some TikTok creators move over to YouTube because of the longer format as well. And it's just a matter of time, I think, before they start to do the live video too. Maybe they'll do it on Twitch. I am seeing more YouTube creators do these long form video, kind of like you would do on Twitch. And they can certainly promote products. Like if it's a makeup tutorial or a cooking demo or something like that, as they move along, they can talk about the products and sell them or get some affiliate links or whatever it is going to be to have some of that earned revenue.
Yeah, so. I think what you're going to see is, I think you're going to see Google/YouTube, because again, you go search for something right now and Amazon always comes up at the top of a search result. I think you're going to see Google and YouTube, when they're launching this live shopping feature, I think you're going to see them start to really try and push Amazon out of the way, because they're missing, they meaning YouTube, they're missing a big piece of the shopping aspect.
Right.
They're surfacing all the information and they're not earning anything off of it.
Right. And how will it tie in? I didn't dive deep enough into this news announcement to see how is it going to tie into Google merchants. We talked about that back in July, right? The merchant services, the merchant center, I think is what they're calling it, so that you can build a store very easily within Google. So is that going to tie in, thread through all of the Google products and into YouTube live shopping? So so let's close out the show. We've got one more news item that's from Clubhouse. Clubhouse is adding a link, if you can believe it. Those people who have followed Clubhouse really only get one link, and that's sort of in your bio, kind of, sort of. People can connect with you on Instagram and Twitter as well, but they're adding links to the top of rooms. So that's handy. Trying to provide people with more ways to connect with people or give them ways to follow up. So Clubhouse news. I'll also say we have a lot in our Twitter stream from social media, social chefs. Geez, woo, words today. Words today. We started out with a bumpy ride with the technology, and it's just flying through.
Did, yes.
So anyway, we'll have it all in the blog this weekend. And thanks for everybody for holding in with us as we keep the technology reins.
It's been quite a show this week. Yeah. So just a couple of quick points from me. So the first thing is, if you do want to support this show, again, I just fund this pretty much. And you can, we have Buy Me Coffee, for example. If you want to support us there, that'd be fantastic. We also, by the way, we have the blog post, as Sarah mentioned, going out. That blog post is available at socialchefs.com/SC315. That's going to go out probably over the weekend, by the way. I'm running a little behind on things, but that's going to go out over the weekend. We also talked about, again, the tool of the week, Canva. We talked about Canva Video Editor. We figured that would actually make a good tool to talk about. So again, that's going to be, it's available. It's socialchefs.com/go/Canva. Again, there is a free plan of Canva. And so that free plan actually does have a lot of functionality that you can use to get started. It goes up to $13. And that's just for like I think it's the pro plan they have, but then there's an enterprise level as well. But it's totally worth checking out if you're interested in getting into doing your own design. Sarah, just a couple of quick questions for you. Where can people get in touch with you if they want to reach you?
People can find me across social media at Sara Munro VT, and connect with me on LinkedIn. Drop a message. Best practice in connecting with new people on LinkedIn is to give them a personalized message and let me know that you saw me on Social Chatter, and I'd be happy to connect.
Fantastic. And I'm Christian Karasevich, and I'm at Social Chefs on all of the social media platforms. If you're following us on YouTube here, be sure you like and subscribe as well so you don't miss a video. We go live every single Thursday. But with that, we will see you all, speaking of Thursdays, next Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with our guest, Mike Alton from Agora Pulse. Again, thanks a lot for tuning in. We will see you all next week. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.